Alright, let's do this one last time. Or the first. Have you ever chased that feeling of finally fitting in somewhere? Not just being present, but belonging. Like you found a place with a group of people who understand you and accept you. Well, I have. Most of us spend years searching for that feeling. And the scary part is, sometimes when you finally think you found it, that place turns around and tells you that you don't belong after all. That's the emotional gut punch at the heart of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And it's why Miles Morales hits so differently as a character. This isn't just a story about saving the multiverse, it's about chasing belonging, losing it, and figuring out what it actually means. Miles' journey isn't defined by plot twists or big action moments, it's defined by how his sense of belonging is built, tested, and eventually reclaimed. And once you start watching the movie through that lens, everything else starts to make sense. At the start of the film, Miles' experience is at an all-time high. He's been Spider-Man for over a year now, and you can feel that confidence in everything he does. He's comfortable in his city, in his powers, and he's most certainly comfortable in his own version of the mask. Brooklyn just isn't where he lives, it's where he belongs. His powers flow naturally, his style is unmistakably his, and ever since that iconic leap of faith scene in the first film, it feels like he's not just surviving in the role of Spider-Man, but owning it. Even with his triumph as the Wallcrawler, there's this quiet gap between him and his parents. He loves them fiercely, yet hides his hero side because he imagines the disappointment in his father's eyes. A cop who initially saw vigilantes as a problem waiting to happen, or the fear in his mother's voice, the kind of worry that could ground him just as he's learning how to fly. And that's why he hides. Not because he doesn't trust them, but because he loves them. Hiding becomes a kind of protection, protecting them from the chaos of his double life, protecting the version of himself they still see as a good kid, and protecting himself from the possibility that they might look at him differently if they knew the truth. That tension creates this constant emotional imbalance. At home, Miles is loved, supported, and safe, but never fully seen. Every family moment carries the weight of what he's not saying. Every conversation seems like he's wearing a different mask than the one he puts on in the city. His sense of belonging starts from a strong foundation, but it's fragile. Held together by secrets that keep him halfway in and halfway out of the life where he should feel the most understood. This makes him want to see his spider friends again, because he knows they're the only ones that really get it. After the growing tensions with his parents reach a new peak, Gwen shows up, and that balance shifts. Suddenly, there's someone who actually understands the chaos of being Spider-Man. Someone who he hoped he'd see again. Miles lights up around her, and not just because he likes her, but because she represents something he's been missing. Someone who could understand and accept him fully. But with that understanding comes pressure. He wants to impress her. He wants to prove that he's not just doing okay, he wants to show that he deserves to stand beside her. And when Gwen tells him about the Spider Society, everything changes. At first, it sounds exactly like what Miles has been craving since the events of the first movie. A whole community of spider people. A place where he wouldn't have to explain himself. A space where everyone understands the weight of the mask. But almost immediately, that excitement turns into something heavier. Because now, Spider-Man isn't just something Miles is, it's something that can be potentially evaluated, ranked, or judged. This is where the cracks in his confidence really start to show. If there's an elite group of spider people, then there must be an official way of being Spider-Man. And if that's true, Miles starts wondering where he fits into it. He's not doubting his heart yet. He's not questioning why he does what he does. But he is starting to feel like he's behind. Like everyone else got a rule book he never received. The fear isn't rejection. It's the fear of not measuring up before anyone even says a word. We see that doubt settle in during those quiet moments where Miles is staring over the city, caught between where he is and who he should become. His sense of belonging, once rooted in Brooklyn and family, starts drifting towards this idea of approval. And that's dangerous. Because when acceptance becomes something you have to earn, you start shaping yourself around expectations instead of truth. That's why the water tower scene with his mom is so important. After Gwen leaves abruptly for what Miles thinks is due to his parents doing, he is emotionally wrecked, questioning everything. This introduces the catalyst for Miles' journey in the film. His mom steps in with that perfect timing, sensing his inner storm. She doesn't lecture, she affirms, reminding him that the places or people he chases might reject him, but true belonging comes from self-acceptance and roots that love you unconditionally.
And he never lets anyone at those big fancy places he's gonna be in tell him that he doesn't belong there.
There are no words to describe how much I love this scene. Rio urges him to stay true to himself. It's the emotional core of the entire movie because it's the ultimate driving force for why a sense of belonging is so vital to Miles. And it's also an allegory for why we should value it just as much. Her words aren't just comforting, they're foundational. In a multiverse full of rules and judgments, her words become his shield, echoing through every betrayal he's about to experience. The more the film's plot progresses, the heavier her words feel. Without this scene, his later defiance wouldn't hit the same. Let me ask you something. What happens when the place you thought would understand you asks you to become someone else? Well, we see that answer the moment Miles reaches the Spider Society. It's confirmation of his fears. Miguel calls him an anomaly, a mistake, and even his friends agree. They may have not known any better at the time, but for Miles, it doesn't hurt any less, because betrayal stings. But during the scene where he escapes from the Spider Society, everything starts to make sense. Miles realizes that belonging was never about fitting into their system. It was never about being accepted by a society built on rigid rules and fear of change. It's about being loved without conditions. It's being seen without being corrected. It's the freedom to exist without apologizing. It's why the theme resonates so much. Rio's wisdom during that water tower scene turns belonging from a quest into an internal power, making Miles' journey profoundly human. After escaping the Spider Society headquarters, Miles isn't just running. He's shaken. He's been told he's an anomaly, a mistake, someone who was never supposed to exist. That kind of rejection doesn't just bruise your ego, it isolates you. It makes you question everything. So when he finally lands somewhere that looks familiar, his room, his neighborhood, home, it feels like relief. And that detail matters, because the whole movie has been asking one quiet question over and over again. Where does Miles actually belong? He's exhausted. He's being chased across dimensions. He's just been told he's breaking the universe by existing. And the first thing that he wants to do isn't fight back. It isn't proving Miguel wrong. It's talk to his mom. Not about canon events, not about multiversal collapse, just the truth. And the way he starts talking is different. There's no joking, no deflecting, no "I'm fine." He tells her he knows how strong he is now, and that he's strong because of her and his dad. Because it's not just a Spider-Man confession, it's Miles trying to bring his worlds together. The son who wants to be understood, and a hero who feels like he has to stay hidden. All throughout both films, Miles has wrestled with feeling like he doesn't measure up. Compared to Peter, compared to the other Spider people, compared to this invisible standard of what Spider-Man is supposed to be. That pressure has kept him split in half, navigating school, family, culture, and heroism like they're separate lives he has to manage instead of one identity he can own. So when he chooses to open up, even before he realizes he's in the wrong universe, it's growth. It's maturity. He's no longer chasing approval from some multiversal authority. He's not trying to earn a spot in someone else's system. He's choosing vulnerability. He's choosing trust. He's deciding that being fully seen matters more than being officially validated. And even though this isn't his mom, even though this isn't his universe, the act still means something, because it proves he's ready to stop living a double life emotionally. He's ready to define his heroism for himself. Earlier in the film, his mom told him not to let anyone tell him he doesn't belong. At the time, it sounded like encouragement, something loving and supportive. But here, it becomes philosophy. Because Miles has now been labeled an anomaly, a disruption, a glitch in the system. And standing in a world where he truly doesn't fit, he realizes something powerful. If people say he doesn't belong anywhere by default, then he gets to decide where he stands. That's the shift. He stops trying to qualify for belonging and starts claiming it. Not because the Spider Society approves, not because canon says he shouldn't exist, but because he chooses his father. He chooses his family. He chooses himself. And that's the choice. That's what makes him Spider-Man. And this is where Miles' story quietly turns into something bigger than just Spider-Man. Because his journey with belonging isn't only about the multiverse. It mirrors something a lot of us go through in real life. We chase spaces that promise validation, communities that look perfect from the outside, and versions of ourselves that feel more acceptable. And sometimes we stay quiet. Sometimes we hide parts of who we are, or wear different masks just to keep our place in those spaces. Miles shows us what the cost of doing that is. The more he tries to fit into someone else's system, the more disconnected he feels from himself. What Miles ultimately teaches us is that it doesn't start with being chosen. It starts with choosing yourself. It's about recognizing which spaces allow you to grow without shrinking, and which ones only accept you if you follow their rules. The people and the environments that truly matter won't ask you to erase pieces of who you are to stay. They won't make you feel like a mistake that needs fixing. Belonging often begins at home, and not just literally, but emotionally. With the people who see you at your messiest. With people who love you before you prove anything, and who give you the courage to step into the world as yourself. And once you carry that inside you, rejection loses its power. Judgment stops defining you. By the end of Across the Spider-Verse, Miles isn't just rewriting the canon. He's redefining what it means to belong. And maybe that's the real takeaway for us too. You don't need permission to exist as you are. You don't need to earn your place by becoming smaller or more quiet. Sometimes, finding your place in the world starts with believing that you already deserve one. Thanks for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you all in the next one.